You've probably heard of Robinson Crusoe, right? That classic adventure story. But what if it's more than just a story? What if it's actually a blueprint? A detailed, step-by-step manual for survival. A guide to literally rebuilding your entire world from nothing. Today, we're going to break down this masterpiece, not as fiction, but as maybe the original guide to overcoming absolutely impossible odds.
So this is where it all begins. And it's not with some heroes standing tall on the beach. No, it's with pure, unfiltered terror. When he says the horror raised vapors into his head, he's basically saying he was having a full-blown panic attack, just completely overwhelmed. You see, Crusoe's first enemy wasn't the island. It was the voice in his own head telling him he was about to die a horrible, lonely death. This is ground zero.
And okay, let's just let this number sink in for a second. 28. Not days, not months. 28 years. Can you even wrap your head around that? It is a staggering amount of time to survive, to build, and to just plain stay sane when you are completely cut off from every other human being. That's the scale of the challenge we're talking about. All right, Section 1. So, before he could become this master engineer or a farmer or anything else, Crusoe had to solve the most basic problem of all. How do I just not die in the next 24 hours? How do you survive those first terrifying days in a place that could not care less if you live or not?
This right here is the core of it all, what we're calling the Castaway's dilemma. And it's not just about being lonely. It's like his life got a factory reset. Boom, back to zero. Think about it for a second. Every single thing we take for granted, a nail, a hammer, a bucket to hold water, it was all gone. He had to basically speedrun thousands of years of human invention, all by himself. It's an insane proposition.
Okay, so now we get to the good stuff. Section 2. This is where the book stops being just about surviving and starts becoming a real-deal survival manual. He's not just looking for a cave to hide in, he's becoming an engineer. He's taking on the entire island, and he's going to do it with logic and a whole lot of hard work.
I mean, just look at how methodical this is. The guy is in the middle of the worst crisis of his life, and he's not just running around screaming. He's thinking like a real estate agent. He's got a checklist. You've got your non-negotiables, fresh water, gotta have it, shade from that brutal sun, check, safety from, well, anything that might want to eat him. And then there's this last one, a view of the sea. And that one just gets me. It's not just practical. It's about hope, right? It's about never giving up on the idea that one day a ship might just appear on the horizon. It's so incredibly human.
And here's the play-by-play of how he actually did it. This is pure engineering. First, he picks his spot, a hollow against a big rock wall. Smart. Then he builds a fortress wall, a double row of huge, sharpened stakes driven deep into the ground, a literal palisade. After that, he starts digging into the rock itself, creating his own cave. And he doesn't waste anything. The dirt and rock he digs out, he uses it to build another wall, a turf one. Finally, he tops the whole thing off with a thatched roof to keep the rain out. When you step back and look at it, he didn't just build a hut. The man built a castle. So now he's got his fortress, right? But he's not done. He turns this little cave into a full-blown workshop. He keeps going back and forth to the Shipwreck, which is basically his own personal Home Depot, and hauls back everything he can get his hands on. Wood, nails, tools, sails, you name it. And then, slowly, piece by painstaking piece, he starts to build a life. He makes furniture. And this is a huge deal because it's not just about staying alive anymore. It's about being human. It's him telling the wilderness, you're not going to win. I'm going to have a chair, darn it.
But let's be real, it wasn't all a highlight reel. Not even close. You can see it here in his little mental ledger. For every win, and making a table and chair from scratch is a huge win, there was a faceplant. He figured out how to make earthenware pots. Amazing. But a wheelbarrow? Nope, couldn't master it. And trying to make a barrel to hold water? They always leaked. This is so important because it shows this wasn't magic. It was a brutal, frustrating grind. It was about failing, getting mad, and then trying again the next day.
And all that frustration with his physical projects, well, it fed into a much bigger battle. After he got his physical world kind of sorted out, he had to face an enemy that was way scarier, his own mind. He had shelter, he had food, but now he had to deal with the crushing, silent weight of being totally, completely alone.
This timeline, man, it just floors me every time. By year 4, he's settled. He has a routine. Think about that. 4 years into it, and he's just in the groove. No human contact. Then add another 11 years on top of that. The same day, over and over and over. 15 years of absolute silence. Before everything changes.
So how did he not go completely crazy? Well, He basically built a survival kit for his brain. It's fascinating when you break it down. You've got these dangers on one side, loneliness, losing track of time, fear. And on the other, his defenses. To fight despair, a super strict daily schedule. He never let himself be idle. To stop the days from blurring into one long nightmare, he made a calendar, cutting a notch in a post every single day. To handle the fear, he wrote everything down in a journal, at least until his ink ran out. And for that deep spiritual crisis, he had his Bibles. You see, these weren't hobbies. These were weapons in his war against insanity.
And this right here, this is maybe the most important survival tip in the whole book. This is the moment he becomes his own therapist. He realizes that his greatest tool isn't an axe or a saw, it's his own perspective. He literally chooses to practice gratitude. He decides to stop obsessing over what he's lost and start focusing on what he has. In his situation, that's not just positive thinking. That's a life-saving strategy.
So let's recap. He's beaten the island, he's beaten his own despair, 15 years have passed, he is the undisputed king of his little world, totally in control, totally secure in his solitude. And then, one day, he sees something so small, so simple, that it unravels everything in an instant.
I want you to really think about this. For 15 years, your greatest fear has been loneliness. You've prayed not to be alone. So what could you possibly find that would be worse than being alone? What discovery could be so earth-shattering that it makes you nostalgic for those years of crushing isolation?
The answer? Not being alone. The sight of a single footprint in the sand that is not his. In a heartbeat, his island sanctuary, his fortress of solitude, it transforms into a prison filled with an unknown, unseen threat. All his work, all his security, suddenly feels terrifyingly fragile.
And the way Defoe describes this terror is just masterful. It's not a big, dramatic scream. It's this quiet, creeping paranoia. Crusoe says he's constantly looking over his shoulder, starting at every little sound, as if he was haunted. The master of the island has become a ghost in his own home.
And his first reaction is just absolutely nuclear. This is his paranoia blueprint. Look at this list. Tear down his walls, let his domesticated goats run wild again, destroy his crops, demolish his country home. In his mind, the goal instantly shifts from survival and comfort to absolute total stealth. He is willing to undo 15 years of hard labor just to erase the evidence that he even exists.
And out of all that panic, he comes to this incredibly profound insight. He realizes that the idea of danger, the constant anxiety of the unknown, is a far greater torment than any actual confrontation. The psychological burden of fear is so much heavier than the physical threat. He survived the island, but now he has to survive his own imagination.
So when we pull all these threads together, the engineering, the psychology, the paranoia, what we're left with is a truly comprehensive manual. It's a guide not just for surviving on a desert island, but really for confronting any kind of overwhelming challenge.
It really boils down to these three pillars, which you could call the Crusoe method. First, ingenuity. If you don't have it, build it. You have to master your environment. Second, discipline. This one's huge. If you lose your mind, you lose your life. You have to master yourself. And finally, vigilance. That's the shocking lesson from the footprint. Security is an illusion, and you have to master your own security because you are never truly alone.
And this leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? Was it survival, a testament to his incredible resilience and ingenuity, or was he just the luckiest man alive? I mean, he was lucky to have a shipwreck full of supplies, lucky to be on a good island, lucky that for 15 years, nobody found him. So what do you think? Where does human skill end and pure, dumb luck begin?